Picture I got when I first started talking to her. Right, I got sent that picture. Our first meeting. I had to find this picture. There she was on our first pictures. Gypsy, they're gone. Boom, boom again, gone. Pixie, go eat them. Look, I think she grabbed one of them. Look, I love my dog. Pixie, come here. Look, Pixie, come here. Pixie actually ate it. All right, I'm gonna pick the other one up. That's wrong on so many levels. Pixie, stop it. Stop it. Stop. Stop. You done ruined that picture. Sorry.
So, Ryan Anderson is out here acting surprised that Gypsy Rose pulled a 180 on him. Like he hasn't seen her track record. Sir, she literally gave her own mom the sweetest smile before orchestrating one of the most shocking true crime plots of our generation. Why are we pretending like betrayal isn't her brand? Now, let's get into this tea. Ryan recently went live on TikTok, but before he even hit that Go Live button, he dropped a whole video hyping it up like it was the Super Bowl. He let folks know this wasn't a live you'd want to scroll past. And of course, the burning question was, did Ryan finally spill the truth about Gypsy? Was this the moment he exposed her for everything she's allegedly done? Well, not exactly, but he definitely had some things to get off his chest. The main focus? Season 2 of Life After Lockup. Ryan admitted it took him a while to speak up about it. And honestly, he said it's because he doesn't react impulsively.
And people said, how dare you not sign over that baby? All right, in the show, you saw I got tested. The moment I saw I was not the father, I signed over rights to that baby. The moment I found out that was not my baby 100%, I signed over rights to that baby because I didn't have rights to it. Like, that's fine. You know, but Louisiana law stated, and Gypsy knew this at the time, that, you know, Ken was mad that the baby had to have the last name Anderson. Well, you shouldn't have got a married woman pregnant.
He needs time to think things through before speaking, which fair, considering how messy things have been. He also addressed the elephant in the room, people accusing him of still protecting Gypsy. And Ryan made one thing crystal clear. He is not defending her. What he is doing is protecting his own peace of mind. According to him, Gypsy put him through emotional chaos, and it left him shaken. He says the experience was deeply traumatizing, and at this point, his focus is survival, mentally and emotionally. So to anyone wondering why he isn't out here trashing her like the internet wants, it's not because he's loyal to Gypsy, it's because he's trying not to lose himself in the mess she left behind. Because honestly, when your ex-wife fakes illnesses for a living and moonwalks out of a marriage like it's a TikTok trend, yeah, maybe silence really is self-care. Stick around to catch the full scoop, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on so you never miss a sip of the tea. One of the first things Ryan felt he had to clarify was the accusations being thrown at him. People calling him creepy, weird, even throwing around the word pedo. And it all stemmed from a comment he made about thinking Gypsy was cute. But Ryan wants it known that folks completely misunderstood what he meant.
I love when Gypsy said postpartum, like that was the only time she ever reached out. I think that's so funny to me. Gypsy's biggest fear is that I would ruin her relationship with Ken. That's not my goal. I don't see a sweat towel. No, you won't see one. You won't. Is that your mama's house? Like I said before.
He says people assumed he was talking about when Gypsy was still living under Dee Dee's control, back when she looked extremely young and childlike due to the way her mother presented her. Ryan shut that all the way down. He explained that he was absolutely not referring to that era. In his own words, Gypsy wasn't cute back then. She had no hair, no teeth, and Dee Dee had her looking rough. Ryan said when he called Gypsy cute, He meant during the time she started dressing in stripes, basically around her post-prison phase. He even pulled up a picture of her wearing makeup, looking more mature, to prove his point. And Ryan didn't stop there. He issued a warning to those making videos or posts labeling him with those serious accusations. He's not taking it lightly. He said he's ready to take legal steps if people keep trying to smear his name like that. According to him, he refuses to let that kind of false narrative stick to his image, and he's not that type of person at all. But here's where it got unexpectedly hilarious. After showing that photo of Gypsy, Ryan literally tossed it on the ground and told his dog Pixie to eat it. Now, if you've been keeping up, you know there's always been a running joke that Pixie can't stand Gypsy. But, y'all, Pixie really proved the point this time. She went full shred mode on that picture. And if you ask Ryan, that's because dogs can sniff out bad vibes. He swears Pixie can sense the evil and chaos Gypsy brings, and wants nothing to do with her or her messy energy.
It's funny. You know what's funny is, like, in the show, Ken said he'd catch a charge for Aurora. I knew he was a catcher. I knew it.
Why do I never know what direction you're going with these?
I knew it.
You're gonna get us in trouble. And don't forget about it. Don't worry
I've
about
been
it.
holding on to that one for a while. Just for the record. And you were the perfect person to drop that one on.
I got
knew
you.
it.
I'm here for you.
Yeah. When he said that in the show, I was like, knew it.
Got him. Aha.
Aha! Caught him.
We got you, Ken.
Yeah. Some bitch. Sorry, I need to quit. You know, he called me a petty ass bitch like 3 times in the show. Called me a petty ass bitch
We've met him.
Excuse me? Say what?
I wouldn't be that offended. Don't worry about it.
I was
It's
just
Ken
like,
saying it.
I know, but when he said, I was like, I'm a petty ass bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you're petty as shit, Ryan. Cut it out.
Yes, I am. I mean, whatever. I'm petty. Yeah. Whatever.
Take it and own it.
Yeah. I need to run the TMZ with it. That's what I need to do.
Yeah, show him what petty is. Damn. Kenan, you want to see petty? We'll make you petty.
I thought about it because I have receipts and stuff. I thought about being like, y'all want to be that petty? Let's.
But that's not you. That's not like your vibe.
It's not.
Just let them keep. It'll run out. They'll hit a brick wall eventually.
Yeah, maybe so. But
I think so.
it is what it is. Whatever.
Yeah.
They ain't worth my time.
No, you got me, Pookie.
To top it off, Ryan dropped a little bombshell. He says he's still sitting on more text messages that haven't been released. And according to him, that's exactly what Gypsy's so scared of. She's terrified that if he lets those messages out, it could destroy her relationship. And Ryan made it clear, if he really wanted to, he could blow it all up. All right, let's stir the pot a little more, because this tea is piping hot. Word on the street is that one of the topics that came up between Ryan and Gypsy during their conversations was Ken, and more specifically, Ken's sexuality. Allegedly, Gypsy confided in Ryan that Ken is bisexual, but instead of making a big deal about it, Gypsy reportedly said she wasn't bothered at all. In fact, she allegedly told Ryan it didn't faze her because she's been there, done that. And let's be honest, if you've heard the prison biscuit and gravy story, you already know she's not new to this. The source of this info? Someone supposedly close to the situation, someone who's been reliable before. And if this is really true, it kind of explains why Ryan's been throwing shots at Ken, cracking jokes about his sexuality, and not holding back. According to Ryan, it's because Gypsy herself had already confirmed the rumors to him. So in his mind, he's just stating facts. Now, if all of this is accurate, and honestly, Gypsy's track record makes it hard to doubt, then Ryan, if you're still holding on to those text receipts, maybe it's time to drop them. Let Ken see exactly what was said behind closed doors. And things got even messier when Ryan revealed that one of Gypsy's friends threatened to spill some deep, dark secret about him, something damaging, but claimed she wouldn't do it out of respect for Gypsy. Respect? That's rich coming from someone riding so hard for someone like Gypsy. At this point, I don't trust anything coming from Gypsy or her inner circle.
All right. So, back to the Aurora text. All right. Gypsy released those texts after the preview of the episode in the season where she told the world that I gave her an ultimatum, which I didn't give her. I just said, I'm sick of Ken, I'm not budging on this one, and he needs to back down. But he didn't, and I backed down because I'm not trying to cause Gypsy grief. But, you know, that's beside the point. But I did back down because I'm a good person, and she knows that. Anyway. All right. I do have to apologize for something that I did, and I'm a man enough to admit I was wrong. And I do apologize if I hurt anybody's feelings. In those texts that Gypsy released, talking about me giving her an ultimatum, which I didn't give her, I lost my head and I was like fighting with Ken. I was in those texts. I was fighting with Ken. She gave my phone number to a lot of TikTok creators and everything, gave my phone number away. And I was at school, and somebody texted me and said, hey, it's unfair that Gypsy's giving your number out to people, and I think it's not right. All right, it's not right. And my first thought was, no, she didn't do that. So I said, I need proof. And the person sent me proof. My number's right there, clear as day. Bam, bam. And I was like, wow, she really doxed me. So I text her and said, why would you do that? I have never done that to you, wouldn't have dreamed of it. Why did you do that to me? 2 seconds later, Ken texts me back. On her phone, texts me back and blatantly lied to my face. Said she didn't do that.
They've already been caught pushing narratives to paint Ryan as obsessive and desperate, making it seem like he was the only one trying to reach out. But, as the receipts showed, Gypsy was initiating contact too. The back and forth wasn't one-sided like they made it seem. This whole thing feels like a giant attempt to rewrite the story in Gypsy's favor. What's even more upsetting is that they're allegedly still out here trying to mess with Ryan's livelihood, pushing to get him fired. Ryan didn't really go into details about his job, probably because he's trying to draw that line between personal chaos and professional life. But let's face it, given that he works as a teacher, people are definitely going to connect the dots. And when your personal drama looks like an unscripted reality show, that's a hard boundary to keep.
So I got so mad that I said something I shouldn't have said. I used a word I shouldn't have used. And, you know, I'm not perfect, guys. I'm not. I said something stupid. I can admit to that. I apologize if I lost your respect or I hurt your feelings in any way. I apologize wholeheartedly. That was not directed toward a group of people. That was directed to one person. That was anger towards one person. And I apologize if me saying that to him hurt your feelings. Honestly, I am not that way. I apologize if I hurt your feelings. I really have. I've had people message me on TikTok and say, Ryan, we know you're not that way. We understand you were mad. And I was so angry that he just blatantly lied to me. The guy who stole my wife and got her pregnant a month later and all this. So, you know, I used a word I shouldn't have, and I apologize for it. I'm man enough to admit it, and I'm man enough to know not to do it again. I learned from my mistakes. So I apologize, and I'm man enough to know that I won't do that again. So if I lost your respect, I'm sorry.
Let's get into the next layer of this mess, because it just keeps spiraling. Ryan made it very clear he was not okay with Gypsy putting his past substance use on blast. Yes, he admitted he had struggles, but he pointed out that he overcame them. Got clean, went back to school, and turned his life around. That was the old him, and he didn't appreciate Gypsy digging it up just to use it against him now. Now, regarding the whole DNA test saga on the show, Ryan explained that while Gypsy and Ken already did a test to determine Aurora's paternity, his own attorney wasn't buying it. He advised Ryan to get an independent test just to cover all bases, and that's exactly what Ryan did. But what really hurt him was the fact that he was actually looking forward to seeing Gypsy, and more importantly, meeting Aurora. According to Ryan, Gypsy had planned to bring the baby with her. But then came the twist. Ken allegedly warned Gypsy that if she brought the baby around Ryan, he'd take full custody. Ryan said his intent wasn't just to stir the pot. He genuinely wanted to observe how Gypsy interacted with the baby, how Aurora responded to her, basically just see them together. At that time, Aurora still carried the Anderson last name, so technically, Ken didn't have the legal right to tell Gypsy she couldn't let Ryan see the baby. But once Ryan got the test results and confirmed he wasn't the father, he says he wasted no time signing over all parental rights to Ken. That said, it's hard not to see both sides here. Ken had already gotten the DNA confirmation, and from his perspective, knew that was his daughter. So it made sense for him to set boundaries. At the same time, Ryan hadn't gotten his test back yet and had every reason to want clarity before walking away.
The moment I found out that was not my baby 100%, I signed over rights to that baby because I didn't have rights to it. Like, that's fine. You know, but Louisiana law stated, and Gypsy knew this at the time, that Ken was mad that the baby had to have the last name Anderson. Well, you shouldn't have got a married woman pregnant.
The whole thing, just one big emotional roller coaster. Ryan also touched on how he didn't appreciate Ken calling him a petty ass multiple times on the show. Not exactly the kind of language that fosters peace. And as for Gypsy's Jazz Fest video, the one where she was allegedly threatening him, Ryan chalked that up to her being impulsive, saying she tends to act without thinking things through. Sound familiar? He also brought up her so-called apology, the one she posted online. According to Ryan, it wasn't a real apology. It was more like a PR stunt, a little digital damage control to calm down the backlash she was getting for how she treated him. He pointed out that she never called, never texted, never reached out to him directly. And let's be real, if she truly wanted to make things right, she would have done it the right way. Not with a flyer on Instagram, but with a personal message. Bottom line, these two are locked in an endless back and forth. And with all this drama already heating up, summer's looking like it's going to be long, loud, and extremely messy. And let's be honest, Ryan knew exactly what he was doing. He's been very calculated about how he panders to the anti-Gypsy crowd, building his little Team Ryan community. But here's the thing. What Team Ryan means in his head is definitely not what it means in ours. People don't tune in because they're fascinated by him. They tune in hoping he'll finally expose Gypsy for real. That's the draw, not Ryan himself. So, no surprise, he used that anticipation to rake in views and gifts. It was never about clearing the air. It was about milking attention and making money. Even if you're pro-Ryan, you can't pretend this wasn't a cash grab. If he truly cared about setting the record straight, he could have just dropped a pre-recorded video with all the receipts, but nah.
See, people talk about the comment of me saying, oh, she was cute. Okay. The way her mother had her looking, Gypsy was not cute. It was not. Like, it was so wrong on so many levels. Gypsy, the way her mother had her dressed and looking, no teeth, all that, it was so wrong on so many levels. And I'm not referring to that when I say that she was cute. I'm not at all. When I said she was cute, I was referring to her actually talking in the Mommy, Dad, and Dearest with the black and white, okay? I thought she was cute in that part. But also, when I first wrote Gypsy, the first picture I got back was this. Now, I had to dig for this. I had to look for it and find it. But that's the first picture she sent to me, okay? In no way, shape, or form does she look like a little kid. No way, shape, or form. Okay? At all. That's the first picture I got when I first started talking to her. All right? I got sent that picture. In no way, shape, or form does she look like a kid. Okay? Our first meeting, I had to find this picture.
He went live on TikTok, full well knowing that's where the gifts come in. Let's call it what it is. Protecting his own curated image while securing the bag. Now, anytime someone dares to criticize him, the defense is always the same. You don't know what it's like to be in a narcissistic relationship. Let him get his bag. But like I said earlier in a community post, I'm getting this pushback from people who are deeply invested in Gypsy's case, people who actually want justice for Dee Dee. So let me ask the real question here. If you strip away the fact that Ryan Anderson was ever married to Gypsy, what are you really left with? You're left with someone who still believes Nicholas Gaudejon manipulated her, someone who buys into her debunked abuse narrative. someone who to this day claims Dee Dee was a monster. He even said in his live that Gypsy lost her teeth because of her mother.
One of the things that irked me about Ryan Anderson's live last night is that he doesn't blame Gypsy for anything. He talked all kinds of smack about Ken, but that was to be expected. And then he put a lot of blame on Christy, Gypsy's stepmom, for never liking him to begin with. But Ryan kept quiet when it was time to blame Gypsy and blamed everybody else except her. And that tells me he believes her, even about things like how her mama got turned into a pincushion. And he'd really hyped this live up too, like we were going to get information we had never gotten before. And at one point, he had over 20,000 viewers watching his live. So he had an ample opportunity to expose her and tell us things that we didn't know. But instead, he chose to ask for gifts. Needless to say, I was very disappointed. But what do you expect from a guy who falls for someone like Gypsy Rose?
And you're left with someone who never, ever holds Gypsy accountable for anything she does. That's not a truth teller or a whistleblower. That's just another delusional panelist you'd find on one of Bree's TikTok lives. So seriously, why is anyone still supporting this man? He doesn't align with any of the core values that the anti-Gypsy community stands for. In fact, he's one of the biggest enablers of a convicted murderer we've ever seen. If anything, he's just another cog in the machine keeping her narrative alive. Look, I get it. People want someone to root for in this whole mess. Someone who feels like the lesser evil in Gypsy's orbit. But let me be clear, Ryan is not that guy. Trust me, you're not that guy, pal. Before we dive into the clips from his live and really start breaking them down, I need to get something off my chest. One of the many things, and I do mean many,
Gypsy Rose is for sure crashing out over his live last night, and that Ryan Anderson stopped by mine and Pisces live last night and hung out for about 15 minutes and said a couple interesting things. So for all of the people that didn't feel like they got enough in his live, stay tuned. So somebody was saying something about Ryan, and Ryan popped up in the chat, and I said, oh, ask him, he's right there. Then I clicked on the name and I saw it was the real Ryan. So we welcomed him, and we also had a few questions for him. We told him it was great that he went on to share these things, and he said that he had to address that. Then he said people are mad that he didn't bury her. I brought up the mat treatment, and I did say that no matter what, that's not okay to do to somebody. He said, I'm mad at Gyp. Pisces said, yeah, she thinks she can just go around doing anything to anybody without consequences. Ryan replies, there will be.
that rubs me the wrong way about Ryan is just how performative and greedy his lives have become. I mean, let's be real. Last night's TikTok live probably earned him somewhere between $3,000 to $4,000, if not more. I'm no TikTok gift expert, but that's the ballpark people are throwing around. And what does he do in return? He panders with this, whoever sends me the best graphic gets a personal DM nonsense, which, for those unfamiliar, graphic just means money. These visual effects people send during lives cost real dollars, and some of them get very expensive. And here's the kicker. He doesn't even thank people in real time. Like, basic gratitude, nowhere to be found. That's not just poor TikTok etiquette. That's just straight up bad manners. Pair that with some of his recent clout-chasing antics, like joining Cameo, and it starts to paint a clear picture. Yes, this man seriously signed up for Cameo like he's some kind of celebrity.
Then, consequences. Then he says it again. After a few other people commented, there will be. He wanted to make sure that that was seen. Pisces said, can you elaborate? He said, not at the moment. We asked him, of course, to come up. He declined. I asked him if he lost his job over all of this, and he said that he's just on summer break. He said, thank you, ladies, for the tremendous amount of support he had in the chat. We did a poll, and he bounced. He was there for almost 15 minutes. So a few things there. He says he is mad at Gypsy. He said that there will be consequences. I think that's huge, that there will be consequences. He just won't talk about it right now. And then He let us know he didn't lose his job. It's spring break. I did ask if there was going to be a job waiting for him when the school year started. He did not answer. So something's going to happen, y'all. It's coming.
He started at $50 a pop, then bumped it to $100, and now I guess he's humbled himself back down to $75. Still outrageous. The worst part? If this were just some random guy who caught his 15 minutes of fame and cashed in, I'd honestly say, whatever, let him have it. But that's not who Ryan is. This is someone who genuinely believes the worst takes, someone who still buys into Gypsy's lies, still believes Nicholas Godejohn manipulated her, and still parrots that Dee Dee was some kind of monster. And now, he's capitalizing on the same story that so many people care about because they want real justice, not dollar store theatrics. It's one thing to say, okay, he was in a toxic relationship, and it's hard to heal from that. Sure, I'll give you that. But what I can't excuse is how he continuously refuses to engage with the actual facts of Gypsy's case.
He also said that he was at school when he got a text message from someone saying, "I can't believe she would release your phone number," and then confronted her about it. He asked the person for proof, and the person gave him proof, and then Ken took over Gypsy's phone and replied for her, saying that she did not do that. He also talked about the recent video that was released where Christy and Gypsy go to his apartment to get pictures back, and they bring the police with them. He says that him and Gypsy had been texting that morning, everything was pleasant, so he was surprised whenever they showed up with the cops. And the reason that the cops were there is because Christy insisted on them being there because she did not know that Ryan and Gypsy had been communicating. There was a lot said. He also says that one of Gypsy's worst fears is that he will ruin the relationship between her and Ken, but he's not out to do that. He brought up how Ken called him certain names on Life After Lockup, and that he was also calling Gypsy names, but he didn't say much else. Of course, there were some polls done, and then Amber J joined the live, and that was funny. They are so cute together. I would love to see them get together.
The case of the woman he wrote letters to in prison, then married. That's not normal behavior. Not even close. There's a difference between struggling to come to terms with the past and actively blindly supporting a known manipulator and murderer. And let's not forget, Ryan still believes every word Gypsy says. He believes the fake narrative she pushed in that dramatized documentary. And spoiler alert, he's never gonna stop. This is who he is. If Ryan still wants to believe that parts of that apology video were sincere, that's on him. His problem. But the real issue here is that he still thinks he should be talking to Gypsy. If you were truly responsible and mature like you claim to be, Ryan, you would have blocked all her numbers ages ago. You don't need to be in contact with her. You're just using and milking this whole situation for clout and money. Your divorce is finalized, the paternity test is done, the show is over, on hiatus for now. So why do you still feel the need to talk to your ex-wife, who has a child with another man? Why are you talking about spin-off shows? Why mention making a YouTube channel? Why bring up book deals?
Okay. I got something to tell you tonight. How gets that? I'll get you back here for that. How
It's all because you got played by Gypsy. Is this your whole existence now? Just talking about Gypsy and staying in contact with her so you can keep the drama and content going? Be honest with your audience, Ryan. Because if there was one thing you made 100% crystal clear during that live, actually, there were a couple things. One, you will never betray your precious Gypsy. We see that loud and clear. We will never fall for the antics you pulled last night ever again. We know you're never going to reveal anything negative about Gypsy. That's understood. But the other thing you made abundantly clear is that you're going to keep basing your entire life around being the guy who got cheated on by Gypsy Rose. Honestly, I'm just sick and tired of seeing you take advantage of this community because that's exactly what you're doing. There are a lot of people invested in this case who want to see justice for Dee, or at least some karma for Gypsy. And you? You're always going to be standing in the way of that, forever and always. Ryan, do you even understand that Gypsy is a you-know-what? Why do you think Christy Blanchard would take any of Gypsy's revolving door of prison boyfriends seriously? I'm sure she probably gets a text every week from someone claiming to be Gypsy's latest boyfriend. You literally wrote a murderer. Seriously, anyone who knows a family member, or in her case, what do you call her, a stepdaughter? Do you really think they give a damn about someone who wrote a murderer? Especially when they have no idea if the relationship is legit or just another circus act? You're all weird, you're all expletive bonkers. And seriously, not to mention the facts here. Skinny legs, can't hold a job, drinks all the time, prefers to be on the bottom, and yes, those skinny legs.
It appears this is the last season of Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup on Lifetime Network, as the network has no indication they are interested in continuing another season of manufactured dysfunction. Now, this comes as Gypsy Rose's show, as you may know, was already bumped back from its original show time for Dr. Pimple Popper. The public had more of an interest in pimple popping than Gypsy Rose Blanchard's drama. And now that this season has wrapped, no new filming has been taking place, and no documents have been signed confirming a Season 3 of Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup. Now, this show had significantly lower ratings than the network anticipated, and even significantly lower ratings than the first season. And surprisingly, this season didn't even contain all of the drama Gypsy manufactured and had filmed for the show. So with that, let me know what you think in the comments, and make sure to drop a follow for more.
Ran out of floss? No problem. Just use one of Ken's skinny legs. Those legs are so skinny they could hula hoop with a Cheerio. That boy can wear his promise ring on one of those skinny legs. Skinny legs, skinny legs. My God, those are some skinny legs. Technical difficulties joke. On a serious note, though, Ken, I saw your little tweet about me. That was funny, you little expletive. But yeah, wrapping things up. Ryan looks like he's moving to YouTube to try and squeeze out those last 15 minutes of fame. I honestly don't know what kind of content he can make that doesn't revolve around Gypsy, but best of luck to him. I don't plan on covering him anymore. I've said what I need to say. For me, this is it. I don't intend to talk about this simp ever again. He's going to keep doing the same thing he's done for the last year, and I just don't want to give him any more attention than he deserves. I'll keep reporting on Gypsy, though. Hopefully we can shine a brighter light on what's really going on at home. That's what matters most. Justice for Dee. That's all I've got for today, folks. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update. Catch you in the next one.